Hey, what up, everybody? I hope all of y'all is having a blessed and humble day. I hope all of y'all continue to have a blessed and humble day. Yo, when I tell y'all that as a parent, there is really no manual, there's no manual, yo. Like as a parent, you have to figure out so many things on your own that is not even a joke, right? So earlier, blessings, young Rios, blessings. Earlier, I was talking to some lady on the bus because I had to make a couple runs. I was, done at Vital Records and stuff like that, getting paperwork and much more, right? So this lady was talking to me about a similar situation that she had like mine with her son, right? So apparently I'm not the only parent that, is having trouble with their child that is in the spectrum and has tried to like run away or is having issues with, having addictions to the computer, to these chats and much more. And what's crazy is that these parents are saying the same thing that a shorty is saying, right? The HIPAA law, right? Because they're 16. They could sit here and say, no, that they're okay, that they don't need no services, that they don't need the therapist, none of that. See, I don't agree with a child is in the spectrum to take the medication because I've done my research and research does not back up the part where certain doctors say a child, should take medication when they're under the spectrum and much more. That's not true. There's so many doctors against that. And I've done my research and I know why. But back on topic, right? Our kids, like this internet, this web, it's crazy because, right, she was sitting here telling me about her son. And when he's with her, and it's the same problem that I've had with my child, when he's with me, he's found a way to manipulate me to try to get away with certain things, right? Even to the point where now recently, y'all know what happened before he ran away. They try to send him that Greyhound ticket, go to Colorado, and much more. Yo, listen. When this lady was telling me what was going on with her child, I sat here and I was like, damn, so I wasn't doing nothing wrong like a lot of people that was giving me advice was telling me, right? Because as a parent, we're not born with a manual. We have to figure out a lot of the stuff that's going on with our kids on our own. So if the problem is whatever they're going through while they're in the spectrum, right? And we don't have the proper services for them. As a parent, what do you do, right? And then as a parent, when you have a child that's in the spectrum, right, and is adjudicated like mine's, you're in between a nail and a wall, right? But see, I've raised my kids like ever since they were yay high and they're able to understand. I've explained to them about family and everything, right? Now, this is my biggest question to y'all, right? When y'all have a child that's in the spectrum, do y'all, how can I say it? After a while, when you've run out of options, do you let them hit their head? Would you let them hit their head? Would you let them bump their head? Me as a parent, I think we should. Because when we're left, like especially our kids are adjudicated, like basically an adjudication is something like them being under probation, right? Any type of trouble that they get under probation, you go back to jail. See, my son didn't step foot in a jail cell. He wasn't arrested. Hold on one second. Oh, my bad. I had gotten a text from my son's principal. But like for example, my situation with my son, I have to get stricter with my son. And listen, I've always been strict with them. It's just to the point where everybody wants, how can I say it? Everybody thinks that because a child's in the spectrum, you have to cuddle them, right? And you cannot cuddle them because it makes the situation worse. You don't abuse them. You don't beat them. Like at times at parents, yes, sometimes our voices may raise and the child may think that we're yelling, that we're screaming, when in reality, we're just getting a little hard on them because they're being a little hard hit it. Sometimes they're talking back. Sometimes it'll just, it's to the point like, all right, fuck it, go to your room. Go to your room, and when you're able to listen and understand what I'm trying to tell you, we can have a simple conversation. And that's how I am with my kids. So like I told her, it's crazy, right? Because I think that sometimes we really do have to let them bump their heads. And with my son right now, what I am doing is I'm letting him see, because I ran out of options with him. The only option left would be letting a judge put him behind bars, because he wants to be hard headed. He doesn't want to go to school. He doesn't want to go to therapy. He doesn't want to do nothing. He just wants to be on a computer chatting all day, just chatting. See, on the time that he's been with his aunt, he hasn't done it, because that's how he's going to be until he's able to get a computer back into his hands. I know my son. He's done it to me time after time, and to other people, because when I took his computer away, he managed to find a way to get a computer from the school and think that he was slick and saying, "Oh, you didn't buy me this. This is my house. I'm paying the bills. I'm paying the rent." Well, I don't pay rent. It's my house. My mom left us this, but I pay the bills. I don't know if you understand where I'm coming from. I put the food on the table, everything. So you're not going to sit here and tell me, "Oh, I bought this. Now I can do whatever." First of all, I'm your mom. No, see, that's the problem. The healthcare system has gotten to the point where these kids, and I'm going to say healthcare system, because now lots of therapists, and I'm not saying all therapists, so people, please don't say that I said all therapists. Certain therapists are making these kids think that because they're 16, that by law, they could do whatever they want. But you still need your mama's signature. When you go to court, you still need your mama until you're 21. And when you're in the spectrum, even if you're 21, guess what? You're still going to need your mama. But see, my son is hard-headed. He was more of a daddy's boy, and his dad passed away. So it's real crazy. Like when his dad passed away, he got a little, he started lashing out towards a lot of people and a lot of stuff like that. So I understand his situation, and as a mother, I still feel as though that I have to let him see, because he thinks that because he'll go to a family member, like his dad's side of the family, they're going to treat him. No, they're not going to treat you. Everything will be roses in the beginning. But I've always told my son, they got a family. Everybody has a family of their own. If they don't got kids, they got stuff that they're doing, and they don't got time to be worrying about somebody else's kid. They may love you, they may do this, but see, you're something that they could borrow and give right back, because you don't belong to them. You didn't give birth. They didn't give birth to you. And they're not going to have the same amount of patience that I would. So me, I feel as though he's going to learn his lesson. All right, you're going to see that they're not like me. They're not going to have the same patience as me. They're not going to talk to you the way I talk to you when it's time for us to have them conversations. So he's going to see it. Like right now, everybody's feeling it, because everybody want to cuddle my son and think that it's cute what he just did, and not understand the consequences and how serious it is of a kid in a spectrum running away. And when a mom says that my child needs help, and I believe that he doesn't need no medication, but I feel as though he needs to see a therapist and a psychologist, that at least there he should go voluntarily 60 to 90 days, talk to a therapist, talk to a psychologist, to figure out, without medication, to figure out what it is that he exactly needs. Because when a kid in the spectrum is off the schedule, you can't get them to really understand you. So I want a lot of moms to understand, listen, it's not bad to teach them a lesson. They need to understand that they're not going to get what they get everywhere they go. And just because they're 16, they still need you. And it's hard to tell these kids this when there's people out there letting them or making them think that because they can get a little job at 16, they could do whatever they want to do. And it's not like that. Because in order for you to move on your own, you have to show responsibility. Because guess what happens when you start losing houses, apartments, and rooms and shit? You end up in the streets when you burn your bridges with people. And I teach my kids that all the time. When you burn your bridges, you have nowhere to go. Nowhere. And see, family may take certain shit as a fucking game, as a joke, like damn. What I mean by that is, like, when people be like, but what if this, what if that? And if somebody's telling you, look, listen, there's no sugarcoating this shit. He's taking it to the point where he can get arrested for doing the dumb shit that he's doing. Like, people don't see that shit until you can prove to an officer that he's in the spectrum when they get arrested in these streets. There's nothing that, he has to go through the process that he has to go through. And even that doesn't save you. There's kids that are in the spectrum that have to actually go behind bars. Because like I tell everybody, #mental health doesn't mean that you use it as a crutch. You don't use it as a crutch. And what's crazy is, I think, and maybe I'm wrong, but I feel as though my son's dad side of the family does think it is, without realizing that at the end there's serious consequences to shit like this. And guess what? Whatever you do in this world, right, comes back to your kids. Whatever your kids do in this world comes back to you. You are a reflection of your child, and your child is a reflection of you. So I want parents to always remember that regardless of anything, don't give up. Don't give up. I'm looking to the side because I got my baby asleep. I got her in a little thingy right there on the floor. The dogs are around. Listen, I gotta look. So it's just crazy. Like, it's why I'm on this live right now. I just want to get some of this off my chest. I don't know how many people agree with me, but listen, we have to let these kids sometimes learn a lesson. My son is going to learn his lesson sooner or later. Listen, ain't nobody going to treat you the way they treat you at home. Just because you got these rules don't mean that you how can I say it? You can't be confirmed, you can't be happy. Sometimes we're teaching these kids that money has more value than family. And I don't want my kids to ever think like that. And when it comes to my kids' dad side of the family, I feel as though that they value money more than what they value family. And that's not what I'm raising my kids into. Like, as crazy as it may sound, I'm not raising my kids to value money more than anything. And no matter throughout the influence that he may get through these streets, like I told this lady, listen, sometimes we have to let them hit their heads. Because if they don't hit their heads, they're not going to understand what we're saying or where we're coming from. Because it's kind of like we were kids at one point, right? We're just, how can I say, we're just talking with the wind. Our words are floating with the wind when we speak to kids, because it's like sometimes they have to see for themselves. They have to feel for themselves. Like, and don't ever think, listen, it's not throw your kids out to the wolves. Is what I mean by teaching them a lesson. Is like with my son. My son thought I threw away his computer. No, I didn't throw it away. But I did teach you a lesson. These chats are not more important than your sanity, than your mental health. And that's what I wanted my son to understand, that these chats don't matter more. Your mental health matters more. That when your mom is talking to you, she's talking to you for a reason. And even though I know that a lot of the times when when I talk to him, he doesn't understand where I'm coming from. He kind of does, but doesn't really. He's going to grasp it. At whatever point in time, there's going to come a time where he's going to come across some type of encounter where he's going to remember all the conversations we had and all the lessons that I had to teach him. And that's how I feel that as a parent, sometimes we have to make the most difficult decisions. And even though we don't want to, we're going to have to before we end up losing our kids here. Because, be quiet, in reality, our family members don't give a fuck about them. And the people that say they care about you don't give a fuck about that dollar in your pocket. Hold on one second. So, yeah. And I always teach my kids that a friend ain't nothing but a dollar in your pocket. So, guys, like, if you have a child that's in the spectrum, keep talking to them. If they get mad or something like that, just listen. Even though we know that, how can I say, the health system is not behind us and the therapy is not the way it used to be, one way or another, we have to help our kids and save them. Because these chat rooms and shit like that gets our kids aggressive to the point where they'll even lift the hand up to their parents, curse them out, get out of character, to the point where you might have to hospital. My bad, it looks like we had an interruption. To the point where you might have to hospitalize them. Hold on one second. And when they do things like that, we have to teach them. And if they don't learn from their lesson, listen, I don't know what else to say as a parent, but we raise our kids up to a certain age. We're with our kids, and as parents, sometimes it hurts us when they leave our nest. Sometimes they leave on their own. Sometimes they leave because they're forced out. But at the end of the day, when you have a parent that cares and loves for you, shit, me, if I had one that would treat me the way I treat my kids, shit, I'll go all out. Because a lot of us wish that we had a parent like that, huh? But that's all I gotta say. So I hope all of y'all have a blessed and humble day. I hope all of y'all continue to have a blessed and humble day. And it's crazy. Like I didn't know that there were so many parents that were out here that have kids in the spectrum that's going through the same situation that I am going, all because of these chat rooms. This shit is like an epidemic of kids with autism and chat rooms. It's like an addiction. Like y'all thought the heroin um, time was like real bad. Nah, man, this internet is the worst addiction. Like, shout out to them kids that go out there, that play basketball, that go swimming. What's up? You got something to say?
No.
What you talking about? About the phone? You trying to get the password? I know I got you. I changed it because I was trying to keep BJ offline, but he's a little freaking hacker, and then I was trying to change it.
I think it's right.
I know it was.
I don't know my phone connected to it.
You could just share it to it. You could share it. Remember that?
Oh, you didn't have it connected the whole time?
I had it connected on my phone.
Oh, we could just go upstairs and share it. You don't gotta do it.
I'm using the internet. I was using my data.
Yeah, we could just share it, JJ. Yeah, I'll share it to him. I mean, he could share it to me.
What?
He could share the Wi-Fi to me.
I'm trying to get the internet on.
Yeah, that's what he could do to me. He could like share it to my phone.
Once I get the password
together. He could do it right now.
With my phone.
Yeah, he could share the password to me. Like he could show me the password.
Well, you still gotta figure out the password.
Yeah. Like. Yeah, that's a fact, young Riaz. But even the kids that are not autistic, like there's heavy consequences to kids that are not in the spectrum. So I suggest that all parents, like, listen, there's ways to figure out how we could keep our kids out of a casket, how we can keep our kids out of a jail cell. How can we keep our kids on the right path, especially when they're easily influenced, whether they're in the spectrum or not? I sit here and I tell everybody, listen, just because your child's in the spectrum doesn't mean you sugarcoat shit, doesn't mean that you cuddle them. It means that at a certain point in time, you still have to chastise them because they're not dumb. They're very smart. And then guess what? They get in relationships. They have kids. Guess what? They have sex just like me and you do. Guess what? They give birth just like me and you do. Guess what? They eat and read a book just like me and you do. They use the bathroom just like me and you do. Only difference is that their world sometimes be in La La world, fantasy world, Peter Pan world. Let's call it like that. And we have to like get them out of there. Yeah, they just need a little more help coming out of Peter Pan's world. That's it. Like, I'm not trying to be funny or none of that, but at the end of the day, they're not no dummies. So I wish people would stop treating the kids that are in the spectrum like they don't have no common sense, like they're not smart. Stop treating them like they're dumb as fuck because they not. And if anything, these kids are more intelligent than what us regular people are. And I'm going to say it just like that, and I don't care who gets mad. But what's crazy is because of how the world treats these kids, the parents with kids that are in the spectrum get a very, very heavy lashback from the kids because you're not just trying to teach them about the world, you're trying to protect them, but at the same time, they're really easily influenced that the first person that draws their attention and, you know, how can I say it, influences them to do this or they think that it's cool, whatever, listen, they'll fall for whatever they say. You could be the best parent in the world, but sometimes it's not your influence that messes up your child's life. And sometimes, yes, we are the reasons why our kids are good and bad apples, but we also have to look at the influence outside of our circle. Friends, families, schools, playgrounds, different stuff. Wherever they make a friend, there's always going to be some type of influence. So I wanted to tell you, how can I say this? Because I said it to the lady earlier, so I want to say it to all of y'all. Listen, if you have a kid that is bad as shit right now, don't feel bad. And if you think that by locking them up is your best option, it's not. as a parent, we'll figure it out. But for me as a parent, I think I'm learning that, listen, teaching them a lesson before the lesson teaches them. And what I mean by that is before Mother Nature, before karma, before all this shit sits here and tries to teach them a lesson because they did some shit they didn't know that how can I say, they was fully aware that in their head they thought it was right. But in reality, it's not. Like, we gotta be more tougher on our kids. And it sounds messed up, but we're going to have to, because we live in a cruel ass world. We live in a world where people think it's cool to do whatever and get away with it, when at the end of the day there's consequences, and bad consequences to all your actions. So, like, don't feel bad, yo. Don't feel bad if you have to sit here and teach your child a lesson. Like, don't. Because they have to sit here and learn what life is. I don't know how many of y'all think, but I want to know, like, do y'all believe that teaching your child a lesson in life is a bad idea or is a good idea? Because depending on the stuff that they're taking. Like, I'm going to say, for example, my child, I had to take the computer. He thought I broke that John. But I want to see responsibility. I want to see him, take the help that he needs. Go see his therapist, because he don't need medication. Go see his psychologist. Get back on a schedule and get off that computer a little more. Then I would have gave him the computer. But he needs to get off the technology. But nope. And guess what? The system backs him up. And guess what they say to parents that'll sit here and just raise a voice? Because see how my voice is? This is normal. But if I was to sit here, yo, enough! To them, it's considered abuse because now I'm screaming. But for 1 second, it's like, pause. I'm supposed to be the one teaching my child. I'm supposed to be the one educating them, right? So if I let them get away with whatever the hell they want to do, and I keep fucking being a Karen, I'm going to say a Karen, like exaggerating for everyone. No, it's not exaggerating. Like, listen, as a parent, I'm supposed to be a cop, a detective, an officer. I'm supposed to be all the above. And there's a lot of kids that don't like that shit. But at the end of the day, a therapist or a social worker or anybody shouldn't get involved in a parent's, how can I say, on the way a parent parents, unless a parent is being abusive. Unless a parent sitting here throwing their child down the steps, putting them inside the microwave or an oven, or grabbing belts and sticks and beating their kid with it. What is the problem with a parent sitting here, and if they have to, once in a while, have to show them, like, look, listen, man, I'm the one in charge. And if they have to raise their voice, what's the problem with that? You're telling me that now we got people calling DHS on people. I'm sitting here, I'm listening, because, these stories be crazy as shit. It's like we're supposed to let our kids do whatever. And then here we get the complaints down the street. Your child was disrespectful. Your child is this. Why? Because we can't sit here and discipline our child. We can't teach them morals and respect. We can't teach them honesty. We can't teach them right and wrong. We have to let them do whatever the fuck they want to do. They could talk back. They could sit here and say, what? I don't care. I don't want to their parents. And the parent can't do nothing. That's basically what they want us to do, to shut the fuck up when it's time to tell our kids that they're doing something wrong. Basically what they want us to do. You know what's crazy? Y'all need to get on the asses of the parents that are abusing their kids. That's what the fuck they need to do. Because these kids out here are wild, and they need both parents, not just the mother. They need that father too. So for those of you moms out there, and this is not for everybody, but if the shoe fits, wear that bitch. For those of you moms out there, my baby daddy ain't shit, my baby daddy this, but you're the reason why he's not in his kid's life. Listen, get your shit together and let him be a part of his kid's life, and you do what you want to do with your life. And co-parent. Yep. Oh, I'll be doing that to my son. I'll be doing that. But it's crazy how, it's crazy. Like, everybody else could sit here and tell you what to do as a parent. And I told this to this lady earlier. Everybody could tell you what to do as a parent. But can't none of them sit here and take your child and raise them for a day? Can't none of them sit here and put money in your hands? Blessings, Empress Lonnie, one love, blessings. Can't none of them sit here and put money in your hands to pay a bill or to put food in their mouth? But people want to sit here and tell you that, no, that's not okay. But is you telling this to your kids? Is you watching your kids while you're busy worrying about how this mom or this dad is raising their kids? You know what's crazy? People get in the lives of people that are doing the right thing and completely support the lives of the people that are doing fucked up shit. Like, I'm never going to understand that shit. Like, never in my life am I going to understand how people are so nosy to sit here and tell another parent, no, you can't say this to your child. Excuse me? You're telling me that I can't raise my voice for 1 second because my child is being a badass. But yet, motherfuckers want to call and let me know my child is being disrespectful? That don't make sense. That's the problem nowadays. That's the motherfucking problem. Like listen, I had to tell this lady, listen, I go through the same thing. Right now, I got family members trying to cuddle what my son did. No, that's not something you cuddle. What if he would have lost his life? And he still can because he doesn't want to receive the therapy. Like, he could be okay for a certain amount of time, but once he gets what he wants, it's curtains. Yeah, you got to be strict. Just because your child is in the spectrum doesn't mean that you can't be strict with your child. That's what I'm trying to tell people. Like, listen, you're not abusing your child if you raise your voice for 1 second because you have to raise it at them because they're talking back. And trust me, a child in the spectrum gets very disrespectful. You can't, how can I say it? You can't tell a parent that they cannot sit here and chest out it. I can't grip my son up by the shirt and tell my son that he's fucking wrong. I could grip my child up. Tell me I can't grip my... Yo, I've gotten into it with people. Don't fucking tell me that I can't grip my child up and tell him he just fucked up. After I've repeated myself time after time after time after time after time after time. Fuck no. You have a problem with it? Come, take my place. Raise him. Raise him the way I've been raising him. Blessings, I just put my words all in a... Blessings, Val Hawkins. My bad. I didn't mean to do that. But I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong at all. Like, this shit is crazy. Y'all wondering why we got kids out here cursing and doing what they doing to people out here that's older than them. Like, because we can't sit here and discipline our kids. Our kids will go here to a fucking school and say, my mom yelled at me, and you got DHS in your fucking house. Like, this shit is crazy. When I tell you the stories that I be hearing, and I'm like, yo, what the fuck is wrong with this world nowadays? Why can't you be a parent and parent your child and people mind their fucking business? What's crazy is, right, you can't parent your child, but you got a motherfucker an hour later or days later talking about, yo, your child just did this, your child did that. But please don't say nothing because, you know, I don't want them to feel some type of way. No, we need to bring back a little bit of the old school and mix it up with the new school and show these kids. Me as a parent, I feel as though we need to teach them their lesson. They need to hit that wall and bump their head and learn and figure out that what they're doing is wrong. It is very wrong. Like, for example, I don't deny it. Shit, my son wanted to run away. Right now, his aunts and everybody wanted to cuddle him. And I'm like, oh, okay. Y'all think it's cute. Y'all think it's a game. Y'all think that this shit is a fucking game. And my son is going to learn that at the end of the day, even though they're family, they got a family of their own. And as my kids grew up, I never got tired of telling them that. Just because they're family or just because they say I love you don't mean that they're going to rock out the same way I rock out for you. Like, listen, don't be scared of telling your kids that because it's the truth. Ain't nobody rocking out for these kids the way we rocking out for them as parents, as real parents. And I'm talking to the real moms out here. I'm talking out to the real dads out here. Like, let's make this shit make sense. But you know what it is? That people out there are miserable. They can't get their kids under control. They can't figure out how to handle their kids, but they want to make you feel like you're doing the wrong thing. When in reality, you're doing the right thing. What is it that you're doing wrong by telling your child that he or she cannot do what you're telling them they can't do? By giving them a curfew. And if they get mad at you, they get mad at you. Go to your fucking room. Go to your room. You have no options. And because you got something, somebody gave you some money to buy something, don't mean that you run my house because it's yours. At any given time, I'll take that shit too. I'm the parent. And what's crazy is they're making it to the point where they want to take our rights away, and we're taking all this shit as a fucking joke. They're taking, but you know what? later on the line, I'm going to be hearing a lot of people saying the same shit I'm saying right now, and I've been talking about it, about them taking the parents' rights. These kids are going to be out here wild as shit. But it's getting there. Little by little, it's getting there. These kids are already wild as shit. They're trying to make it to the point where we can't tell our kids what to do. And you know what? Either our kids go into foster care, they go into a casket, or they're going behind a jail cell. But there's ways to avoid this. And like I said it, like, listen, be a parent. Don't be scared to be a parent. Because for a while, they had me thinking that if I chastised my child, I was wrong. No. I learned after a while, I learned that I wasn't doing nothing wrong. And when I stopped doing it, my son got out of control. I got back on it. He got, how can I say, I had him under control. But then when everybody started meddling in, that's when shit started going sideways. That's why it's like, yo, listen, fuck family, fuck friends. If you're here, you're here. Like, you either going to help me or get the fuck out my way. It's that fucking simple. Because at the end of the day, if you're going to make the situation worse, the fuck I need you here for? I'm already fucking fighting. I'm hopping obstacles, climbing mountains to get to where I got to get to. So at the end of the day, listen, don't worry about family. Don't worry about friends. If you, how can I say it? If your son is mad at you or your daughter, you're doing the right shit. Facts. You got to be respectful when you talk to your parents. You can say whatever you want and do whatever you want as long as you're respectful. Like, in my kids, I don't let them talk back to me saying what. I hate that shit. Don't fucking say what when I'm asking you a question or I'm telling you to come here. Yes. Yes is yes. Yes, ma'am. If some of y'all are like that, yes, ma'am. If some of y'all are like that. But don't what me. I don't want to do this shit. Don't fucking catch an attitude and start doing all this. No, get the fuck out my face and go into your room. That's it. That's simple. Be a parent. Don't sit here and go by what other people are saying. If you have to keep them in the house for a fucking week and fucking barricade the motherfucking walls and tie them up with some fucking tape until we figure out the fucking problem. Because at the end of the day, the situations with our kids are getting out of pocket, and it's because a lot of parents think that we have to let them do whatever they want to do. And then when they go out there and they act reckless, they keep forgetting that it reflects back. It will reflect back, and not in the way that you're thinking. Like, stop thinking that we're back in the 80s and in the 90s, y'all. We're not. But listen, just be a parent, guys. Don't be scared. I just wanted to get on here because I was really talking to this older lady, and it's crazy how everybody wants to be all in her business, and she's doing the right thing. Got her child, going to therapy, going to school, doing what he got to do, but been lashing out the same way mine was lashing out. And now she got family members making her feel bad. She got friends making her feel bad. And like I told her, if you got friends that are making you feel bad, they never was your friends to begin with. If anything, they should be bringing you up, uplifting you, motivating you, trying to find a way so that you don't give up. But if they're bringing you down, they're not your family. They're not your friends. They just there because at one point you was giving them something that benefited them. A friend ain't nothing but $1 in your pocket. Once that dollar gone, so the fuck are they? I'm sorry to say it like that, but it's the truth. My hair is getting on my nerves. So that's all the time that I got right now. I hope all of y'all have a blessed and humble day. I hope all of y'all continue to have a blessed and humble day. And listen, like I said, don't give up, don't quit, and fuck everybody else's opinion if you're a parent, and be a parent to your child.